Hopefully this is all going to work okay today. I'm just trying to pull the live up on the iPad. Right, it's saying waiting at the moment. Oh, there we go. Right, let me turn my volume up just for a moment so I can see if we've got some sound. Yep. Okay, hopefully when a few of you have joined, you could just let me know that you can hear me and everything okay. I'll just wait for, oh, hi Laura. Is the sound and everything okay today? Perhaps you can let me know. I did just check it on the iPad and it sounds all okay. I'm hoping we won't have any issues today. Brilliant. Do you know, I think the problem is that my phone was on its way out rather than things that I was doing. So I think, yeah, the camera and everything completely died on me. So I had to rush out and get a new phone a few days ago. So I'm hoping that there's no real issues with all the sound and video this time. So yeah, I'm not actually sure what I'm going to do today. I know the technique that I want to do, but I don't know whether to do it on a card or on an MDF tag. I'm quite tempted to do it on an MDF tag, to be honest. I did do this one on a piece of card. So that is tag, but it is just card. And I'm basically going to do the same thing. Yeah, I think rather than thinking about too much what I'm doing today, I'm just going to go with that. Hi, Mum. Oh, sounds fine. That's brilliant. That's really good news. So yeah, as I said, I'm going to do sort of this technique and I'm going to use these stamps, but I said I might do it on a MDF tag unless you would prefer to see an actual card made up. Do let me know what you'd prefer because I really don't mind either. Can see and hear you okay. That's brilliant news. Actually managed to do something right today, but I said I think it was more the fact that my phone just was playing up and it had come to the end of its life. So yeah, unless anybody says otherwise, I might go ahead and just do the tag. Now I can't remember which ones these are. If I give you the measurements, Laura might be able to then tell which ones they are. There's so many different sized MDF tags on the website, so do check them out. I have already given mine a layer of gesso, just so you're not watching that. Right, so this one is 8 centimeters by 16 centimeters. Would it have been #8 or something? I'm not sure. Or #6. I can't remember which one it was. So just over 3 inches by just over 6. Hopefully from those measurements, you'll kind of be able to work them out. I know Laura does normally pop the links up, but yeah, there are so many different size tags. So do check them out on the website. Well, nobody's suggested doing anything different, so I am going to go ahead with this tag. But as I said, you can do exactly the same process on a piece of card. It does work exactly the same. I think it's probably might be more interesting seeing it on the MDF tag, just because I actually put this in the stamping platform. I was a little bit shocked that it worked. I did do a test run. You can probably see the stamped image just slightly through the gesso there. But yeah, I was quite surprised to see that you could put this MDF in. It is sort of thin enough. I don't know if you tried doing anything thicker. It may not work. But and also it goes in my stamping platform. I don't know about other brands. Right, so I'm going to pop some paper down because I don't really want to get my mat all paint on it. And I'm going to be using some of the multi-surface paints to start with. So I'm going to go in I don't know if my um, comments are playing up again. I'm just going to re-click on it. Ugh, not now. No, that seems, well, I've got them back up again now. Right, yeah, so I'm going to be using the multi-surface paints um, to decorate the background. Um, Again, it's the same, exactly the same thing that I did on this, even though it was card. I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing. The only thing I might do differently, if I'm doing it on a tag, I'll give it to you again in just a sec. So the only thing I might do differently is I might emboss the crackle around the edge. So this tag measures 8 centimeters by 16 centimeters. I've got a feeling it's either #8 or #6. I can't remember which one it is. I could be completely wrong in both of them because I usually am. But I'm pretty sure it was one of them. But as I said, there's tons of different sizes to choose from. I think there's even some a little bit bigger than this, which would actually be really nice, you know, if you are just decorating something to even hang on the wall or something like that. Maybe they might be quite nice for that because, you know, just because it is a tag, it doesn't mean you've got to use it as, you know, it's just like a little decorational piece, isn't it? So yeah, as I said, I'm using the multi-surface paints to paint the background. I'm just looking for a paintbrush. That one will do, I think. And like I said, this has already had a coating of white gesso on here. So I'm using here teal, which is probably one of my favorite colors in this in the collection, and sandstone. I really love working with these two colors. I think they work really well together. So I'm just going to go in. I'm going to use what's in the lid first, and I'm just going to sort of randomly apply some sandstone here. I'm not going to completely cover it all. I might go in and add a bit more and sort of blend the colours in a bit more. I'm just literally randomly applying it here. And I'm just going to even dab that off. I'm not even going to go in with the water. Yeah, I really love working with these colours. I think most of the MDF kits that that's Crafty sell, if I can get away with using a teal colour on there, I certainly will. Actually, I might also add a tiny amount of brown in this. I'll have to get that out in just a sec. Do apologise if I'm a bit croaky. I'm actually just getting over a cold. Had a right stinking cold over the weekend, so luckily it is just starting to go. So I'm just sort of brushing them in, I'm doing quite a dry brush here. I don't want it sort of too wet because I'd like to have some of those smeary brush strokes in here. So, and again, I'm just going to keep going in and adding the different colours until I'm sort of happy with it. Very beachy colours. They are actually, aren't they? You often see there's quite a few beach huts painted in this teal colour along our local beach. I always think it's lovely actually when you get beach huts along the beach. It definitely feels more beachy, doesn't it? Even though but I think there's still quite a lot of places that don't have them. I think we're lucky both the beaches that we've got locally have got some beach huts. They're quite expensive to either buy or hire. Right, I think I'm going to stop with them two colours. I might just grab out. I've got some brown here. Pop those lids on. Hopefully I won't need them again. So this one's just, oh, chestnut brown this one is. Hi, Shelley. And again, I don't really want a lot of paint on this. So what I'm actually going to do is dab some off. Still too much, really. Luckily, that darker bit's on the edge, so it doesn't really matter. See if I can pick up any of that paint from the paper rather than keep going in. It's drying a little bit too quick. I'm just trying to brush that brown in as much as I can because I don't really want the brown too intense. And I think I call it quits there. Now I'm just going to dry this off very quickly with the heat gun. I'm hoping this doesn't pack up on me while I'm live. I have got a spare one at hand just in case. But it is going on me. Hopefully that'll be dry enough. Yeah. Let's that brush in some water. What I might actually do now is just grab some brown distress ink. And I think I'll use, no, not that one. I think we'll go with brush corduroy. Ooh. And I'm just going to go around the edge on this. Let's remove that. Just to sort of distress the edge a little bit. It's a very quiet gun. It is. Do you know, I will only ever use, I think, these guns, I think particularly during the lives and everything. I think they're great because when you're sort of, if you want to sort of talk over them and everything, you can still hear what's sort of being said. So I think that is on the That's Crafty website, those heat guns, I think, because I'm sure I put one in my basket because it is going to go on me anytime soon. I think I've been nursing it now for months. But every now and again, it sort of wavers and goes really, really quiet and as if it's going to stop. I didn't do it that time actually, but it is on its way out. But the other one that I have got is it's not quite as quiet as that. Oh, hi Lucy. You thought the sound had gone. Oh, could you actually hear the heat gun on then, or because my son said something a minute ago about because I've got one of the newer. I said at the beginning, I don't know if you heard, I've had a lot of phone issue and I had to get a new phone. But he said some of the iPhones actually block out some of the background noise. So I wonder if maybe it's doing that a little bit, like it can hear me talking and it's blocking out that noise. Maybe, I don't know. It might not be. We could hear we couldn't hear the heat gun at all. So maybe it is that. Maybe it is just, oh, how strange. So maybe it is just that it blocks out some of the background noise, which actually is quite nice because I mean, I don't even know if you can hear that. One of my neighbours is actually mowing the grass at the moment or trimming the hedge or something. And I was worried about that in the background. But I said my son has literally only just said, because I think I was on the phone to mum just a little while ago, and while I was talking to her, I was also doing some metal work, which can be quite noisy. And she said she couldn't hear me doing that at all. So yeah, but how strange. I guess it isn't a bad thing. How are you feeling now? I heard you was poorly. Oh, thank you. I am actually feeling a lot better now. I'm still a bit snuffed up, but yeah, I was really quite ill at the weekend. Right, so that's the edging now done. So what I'm going to do now is grab my stamping platform. Now, as I said, I don't know if this will work in every stamping platform, but I have tried it in this and it does seem to work. So I'm going to be using this set. I think it's one of my new favorite sets. I love the little daisy, which I also think it looks a little bit like a sunflower. I guess it could be used for either. But I think today I'm going to do it as a daisy. So I've already got it in place. Now, in order to secure this, I didn't get my masking tape. I'm going to have to get up and grab that. Obviously, with this, you can't really put the magnets on the MDF. It's not going to work. So you do need some masking tape, which I'm just going to grab. Right. And I'm just going to sort of tape it as much as I can to the edge and push it in just to secure it there. And again on the top. I'm not going to put too much on the actual tag because I don't want it pulling any of the paint off. I guess I should have really tapped it on my jeans first. So the only reason I'm putting the magnets there is just to sort of hold it and stop it from shifting too much, even though it's not on the actual tag itself. Right, I'm then going to just use my Versafine clear ink and ink this stamp. Now, I might have to do this a couple of times because I always find I struggle a little bit on the stamping platform. I know you shouldn't, but I always do. Loving the demo so far, but got to go out and watch the rest later. Well, thank you for joining. So now what I meant to say, I have actually got this under the clear setting, which is a bit silly. So I was meant to put it under the rubber. It works better under the rubber setting. I don't know why I forgot to change it, but now it's on that setting. I'm going to have to leave it there. So on this stamping platform, you have two settings. You have the side for the rubber stamps and then the side for the clear stamps. Now, I would recommend that you use the one for the rubber, just because obviously it's MDF and it's a little bit thicker. So you do want it sort of, that you've got a little bit of extra room. I've messed this up a little bit and done it under clear, but it seems to have worked. So, yeah, I'm quite surprised that it worked. So obviously, just because on this one I've done it on the wrong setting, try not to put too much pressure on here, just in case you sort of on this side, just in case you sort of snap the top here. If you had it on the right setting, you might not, it might not be such a worry, but right, that's actually stamped okay. Now what I'm going to do is take this out because I'm now going to do lots of background work. So I'm leaving my stamp exactly where it is. I'm not taking it off at the moment because we need to come back to that. So definitely don't take that off. Leave it where it is. I'm going to pop that to the side for the moment. And I'm going to do some stamping in the background before I focus on this feature here. So I'm going to grab my favorite set again. You've seen me use this so many times. I keep apologizing because I should really stop using it. But I just love it. And yeah, I think really sometimes it's good to see it used so many times because you then see how useful it is. But any work that I do with flowers, this set has to come out. I love it. So I'm going to grab this little grass head here and a stamping block. If I can find one, that'll do. And what colour do we want to go for? I think maybe I'm going to go with Arctic today. So I'm using VersaFine Clay Arctic. I love these colours for like stamping in backgrounds and things. Now, at the moment, you don't have to worry about stamping on top of this. I guess if you wanted to do the background bit first, you could do that. I've just stamped it, so I've got an idea of what I'm kind of working with, where everything's going to go and all that. But yeah, I'm not going to be, I'm not too worried about stamping over it because I will be painting over it in a little while. But it is quite important that you do all the background stuff first. This Arctic actually goes really well with some of these paints that I've used on the background. Let's lower it down to there. Where's my cloth? Clean it up. And I might just grab this other stamp here. Again, whoops, don't want to lose that one. It's one of my most used stamps out of that set. Definitely don't want to lose that. And actually, I might grab, again, it's another one of the colours that I use for stamping in the background, Very Perry. So what I'm going to do is come up here a little bit. So, and I said, I'm just stamping right over that daisy. Now, because that line is quite a way up there, what I'm just going to do is turn the stamp round and just sort of rejoin that. It doesn't matter if it goes right to the bottom, but I do want it to come down a little bit more. Let's just stamp a few more here. And on this side here. There we go. Pop that away. I might do the other ones after because I'm not too worried if that goes on top of the daisy. So I'm going to pop them to the side for the moment. I'm not quite finished with them. I will come back to that. Now I'm just going to dry this off again a little bit using my heat gun that nobody can hear. I think that's totally insane. I think I'm going to have to listen back to this live just so that I can hear the non-existent heat gun. Right. So now what I'm going to do is grab some paint. Now I hope this is still on the website. I know it was last time I looked. So this is the rich chalked paint and this is the antique white. I think there's a couple of different whites that you can get. I can't remember what the other one was, I'm afraid. Was it old white? But yeah, I went for the antique white here. I don't know what the old white one is like. Actually, what I did find is that you have to give it a bit of a shake before you use it. So I'm just doing that now. Look, I'm already covered in paint. I think I'm going to put my bit of paper back down because I don't want to get paint on my mat. Look at me, absolutely covered. Right, I'm just going to grab a thinner brush now. I can find one. All these brushes and can never find the right brush I want. Let's go with that one. So what I'm going to do now is just paint over this. Now you might find that you need a couple of layers with this because it does you can sort of see through it quite a bit. Now if you wanted to, you could actually just use white paint here, but I don't know, I think I tried it with white paint and then I tried it with the chalk paint, and I actually really love I think on various things, I love it when you have like a shiny and a matte thing. So, you know, if you did like a nice matte background and then sort of the focal point is quite shiny, or sort of the other way around, whatever. And by doing this flower, I painted the whole flower, and it did come out sort of quite a nice matte, and this was slightly shinier. So I really liked the effect of it, even though I'm going to add some colour on the rest of it. It is really weird not hearing the heat gun. Looks like you're just pretending to use it. Oh, it's a magic trick. I love this paint. I've used it on some of my kitchen shelves. Oh, well, that's different. Wouldn't have thought to use it on furniture. So it's obviously got a lot of uses there. I might come back and add another coat to that. I'll see how it goes, how it dries. But yeah, I'm literally just going to add it all over the, you know, paint all the whole flower, including the stem, because there is a little bit of the stem that is sort of showing through there. I think I actually found when I did the other one, I actually found that I went over the lines a little bit, but it didn't really matter. Actually, I'll do this side first so I'm not leaning over. Oh, excuse me, I'm just going to have a sip of drink. Right, sorry, I'm not very quick at painting. That's the only downside here. What I think I might do is just add a second coat just to the petals on the flower. Just because I am going to have them white, the rest I'm going to sort of paint greenish colour. Right, I'm just going to dry that off with my magic heat gun. Afternoon, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Not to worry. It's nice of you to join. So we've got a little bit of a joke going on at the moment because apparently my heat gun isn't doesn't make any sound. So it doesn't actually look like I'm using it. I'm amazed by that. I can't believe it. So as I said, I'm just going over just the petals because the petals are going to be white here. I do want them nice and vibrant, and I don't want to see any of that colour sort of coming through from the background. got one really annoying strand of brush there that's fraying outwards. I think I'm going to have to snip that off. You probably shouldn't, but unless there's another trick of getting rid of that, I'm going to have to do it later. Right. So that's now all the petals sort of painted again. I am just going to add some white on here just because I will paint them stems green. Right, hopefully that will be enough of the white. I'm just going to dry that off again. Right. Now, because I want to see sort of where the center and everything of my daisy is, what I'm actually going to do is bring back my my stamping platform, and I'm just going to sort of pop it back into place. I'm making sure that that's completely, butt up to the corner again like it was last time. And I'm putting them magnets back in place. And where's my black ink? So I'm just going to go in again. I'm really only focusing on those daisies at this point, just because, as I said, I want to see where the center is for when I'm adding the color. So I'm not too worried if it hasn't completely stamped, perfectly, which it hasn't. That's fine. So I'm going to pop it back out again. Very carefully. Don't want to peel any of that paint off. I'm going to pop that to the side again. I put the lid on my ink pad so I don't thing. Right, now I'm going to go in and paint the daisies. So actually what I'm going to go in first, that might be too bright. So I'm going to add some pink on my daisies just because, well, daisies sometimes are pink, aren't they? Grab some kitchen roll for my brush. So I've got here, this is light pink. I might also add some darker pink as well. So I'm just going to go in from the center and just bring the pink out. I'm not coming all the way out with this. I'm just adding a little bit of pink to sort of coming out to about the middle of the petals. And then while that's still wet, oh, I've just realized I've missed one there. So while that's still wet, I'm just going to add a tiny amount of the darker pink. So I'm not sure what color this is because I don't have a label on my one. I'm not sure what happened there. So again, I'm just applying just a really small amount to sort of those inner petals. Don't really want it too dark, so if you end up with a lot on your brush, just keep dabbing it around all the different petals and then sort of spread it about a little bit. I'm going to go in with the lighter one there just to blend that out. So I'm sort of trying to dab that into the pink a little bit, just into that lighter pink. If you find that you can't blend it out so much, just add in, like I just did a minute ago, just a bit more pink just to blend the two colours in a bit. Needs a tiny bit more pink in there because I put too much light pink in. And then again, I'm just going to do the same on these ones here. I'm not going right to the end, I'm just adding a little bit. Sort of, you know, just a halfway through the petal. And then blend in that darker pink in. And always add a small amount of water in your brush to help blend your paints. You can, I'm going for quite, I just want it sort of a bit drier here because I'm using the chalk paint underneath. I don't really want it to sort of react too much. Whoops, don't want to drop that. So yeah, normally I would have them a little bit wetter, but I said because I've got the chalk paint underneath, I don't know if it will sort of react too much with that. But if you work quick enough, you can sort of blend it in quite nicely. And I've made a right mess with this paint, so just cleaned my brush off a bit there. Let's put that pink away. Is that MDF you're painting on? It is an MDF tag, yes. I have done, I mean, I did this one on paper here. So you can do this technique on MDF or paper. If you are using it on the stamping platform, you might have missed what I said. I do, on that particular one, I do recommend using the rubber setting rather than the clear setting. Just because then you've got a little bit more room for your tag to sit underneath it. I didn't do that. I don't know how that ended up happening, but I've ended up doing it on the clear, but it's worked. So, you know, as long as it works, but just be a bit careful about sort of slamming it down and everything on your stamps. Those paints are lovely. They are really lovely paints. I use these a lot. I actually like using these for even adding sort of, you know, if you've done sort of a nice scene. If you'd seen the card that I made yesterday with the wishing well, I use these paints for the little daisies. And I think rather than using like a Sakura pen, I just used it with a ball tool pen and just add some really small daisies. I could probably show you that in a little while if I remember. Right, I'm going to grab my green now. So this is just normal green paint. And I'm just going to go all down the stem. As I said, I think painting over the chalk paint rather than like a gesso or just normal multi-surface paint, it gives it a completely different look. I rather like it. I think it's just, you know, different. Now what I'm going to do at the end here, because I'm not quite sure, I have got a plan for the end, but I might bring it down a little bit further than it is, and I can just fill it in with a fine liner pen. Oh dear, excuse me. You could actually go in with another tone of green. I don't know if I've got one, if I'll be able to find one that quick. Just finish this. I always like using sort of more than one colour for colouring stuff, just because then it sort of gives a bit more of a realistic look. It's funny, after my demo, is it last week? No, the week before, wasn't it? Sorry, I was concentrating then trying to find another colour. So I've got another green here again. I'm not sure what green this is because I don't have a label on this one. But yeah, after the last demo that I'd done, last live, sorry, my head's a bit foggy. My nieces actually watched that video, and it was really funny because I saw them later that evening after watching it, and the eldest one of my nieces, Lily, she'd coloured something. I can't remember what it was now. I think she had like a colouring page or something. And she showed me what she'd done, and she pointed out she'd used 2 different colour tones to colour something. I think it was a flower or something, that she'd got off of watching my demo, which I thought was really sweet. I think we're going to have to get her into stamping, and she'll be a future crafter. But yeah, I just thought it was really sweet. Right. Oh, I have missed a bit. I did this last time and had to go back in afterwards. I was really annoyed. So I've missed that little bit just there. And again, I'm going to bring it down that stem because I haven't done that either. That one's lime. Okay, so that light green paint that I was using is lime. Thank you. I must remember to write it on. But I tend to sort of use them, put them away and forget about it, and then pull them back out again and haven't got a clue what colour it is. Right, so I'm going to use my magic heat gun again, just to dry that paint off. Obviously, this time I do want it really nice and dry because I am going to do the stamping over it. So I think we're about there. So I'm going to grab my stamping platform out again. Let's get rid of this. So this is what I was saying. On this one, you have like a rubber setting and a clear setting. And for some reason, I've done it on the clear. I obviously thought I'd turned it over, but obviously not. So I'm just going to put that, again, I'm going to butt that right up to that edge and just secure it down. I'm just putting the magnets as close as I can up to it, just to sort of keep it near the edge there, and hope this works. So I'm going in again with that black. Where's my little stamping tool? So this time I actually want it stamped really well, so I am going to go in a second time. If I'd had it on the right setting, it probably wouldn't have done this. Right, still a little bit sketchy just on that one leaf and a couple of petals there, so I'm just going to do it again. I think that is the joy of these stamp presses, isn't it, that you can just keep going. That's a bit better. So let's take this off. I'm going to put this to the side again. Now, I'm not going to fill this in just yet. I'm going to sort of save that, I think, to the end. Mind you, it's probably not going to matter because, no, I will bring it in. So I'm going to grab a fine liner, see if I can pick up one that works. So this is just one of the Micron pens. I'm just using to extend that line down a little bit. Not, I don't need to bring it right down because I said I am going to do something with that in just a minute. I love the rustic look of this tag. Oh, thank you, Shelley. Right, what am I going to grab now? Yes, so I'm going to grab the these back out again. The botanicals, what was it? Botanicals set, dry botanicals set 2. And I'm going to use this little one here. Let's get a smaller stamp block for that. Now for this one, I'm not going to be too worried about stamping over the daisies on this. So I'm just going to sort of randomly stamp it along the bottom. Said it doesn't matter if it is going to overlap, I'm just overlapping the leaves slightly. Because I'm doing them black, they could be sort of slightly, you know, in front. Goodness, it's got very warm suddenly. The sun started to come out. So I'm going to bring that one up slightly higher as well. Right, there we go. I guess you could, if you wanted, stamp that longer one up here. I'm not going to do that. What I might do is a moment in time. I think that one will fit at the top. I have no idea when. Oh, there it is. I say I should have had a gridded block somewhere. So hopefully that's stuck on there fairly straight. And then I'm going to stamp this one at the top. There's just sort of enough room. I might stand up a little bit so that hopefully I can get it straight. Sorry, the sound might have gone a bit funny then because I was leaning over the phone. It's not too bad. It's a little bit wonky, but hopefully it won't be too noticeable when by the time I've stamped everything else out. Of course, I've got to stamp the little postmark stamp. Again, I love this stamp. And I think maybe, no, I might do one here. And maybe another one up there, although I don't know because, no, I might leave that. No, I will do it. I think it needs a bit of balancing really, so I will stamp that up there. Let's pop that back. Right, I'm going to pop that back in the package so I don't lose any of them. And then I'm going to grab this set. So Alexa's Doodles, set 1. And I'm going to grab these funky sketchy loops. So I'm going to do them at the bottom. I quite like them. I think they're quite funky. So I'm just literally going to stamp this all along the bottom here. And it doesn't even matter if it lines up perfectly. I think because it is quite funky and quite doodled, you know, it doesn't matter if there's a bit of a gap between them, if it's slightly higher, you know, it doesn't matter. Right. Let's pop that away. Now what I want to do is dry this off a little bit before I do any more work on it. So because for the next bit, I'm hoping to add some gold embossing powder. Although for this bit, I'm going to be a bit naughty because I can't seem to find my gold wow embossing powder, which I'm a bit annoyed about. So I have got here a really old one from a lot of years ago that you can't even get hold of now. But at preference, I would use the wow gold embossing powder. I don't know where it's gone. I have a bit of a habit of losing embossing powders. I said I'm just trying to dry this ink off as much as I can. Your phone is definitely cutting out background noise. There's no bag rustling or ink pad tapping. How strange. I'm definitely gonna have to go back and watch this live. Normally, I won't I never like to go back and listen to, um, like, I think there's something a bit strange, isn't there, about hearing your own voice? So I never watch them back, but I'm gonna have to play this back because it must be really strange. I'm sorry, I don't know how to stop that, but I suppose really it's kind of a good thing. Yeah, I'll just have to call it my magic heat gun from now on. Right, so hopefully that's nice and dry. What I'm actually going to do, just to double check, I'm just going to blot it a little bit, just to make sure that no more ink kind of comes off. There is a little bit there. So then what I'm going to do is anti-static bag. Now, because obviously I've done a lot of wet work and there's probably still a few particles here quite wet, I'm literally just going to dab this all over the background. And no seagulls and neighbours' dogs barking. Yeah, that's a good point actually, because they have been barking. And I said my neighbour has been mowing the grass or trimming the hedge or something. I don't even know what he's been doing. There's definitely been some noise from the neighbours. I can't believe that you can't hear it. I find it quite mesmerising, and yeah, it's how strange. Right, so I'm just going over and literally dabbing that all over the background. And then I'm going to grab my crackle. I don't know why I'm looking at that one. So it's on this one. Really love this crackle stamp. Now, I'm not going to, I think mine's actually lost its stickiness because I never mount it. But I could go back and, sorry, I forgot to say what stamp set that was. So texture stamp set 2. Yeah, I never bother mounting mine. I mean, I think I could just wash it with some warm soapy water and it will go back to being sticky. But I tend to like just holding mine in my hand because I feel like when you're doing something like this, you have a bit more control over where it's going to go. Right, what I'm actually going to do is, because I'm a bit worried about it not sticking. No, what am I going to? No, I will use black, I think. No, I won't, because I want to do the edge. Sorry, keep changing my mind. Now, you're probably not going to see me where I'm stamping this that well. So yeah, you will sort of see it will make sense at the end because I'm going to be using the gold embossing powder. It will sort of make sense. So I'm only stamping just the edge part of it, and then I'm holding it up slightly. I don't want to stamp too much of that crackle in. So there's just you can't see it at all. So there's no point in me even trying to hold it up to show you. So I don't want it coming in too far on the tag. So I'm literally just only stamping a small amount of it all around the edge. I said there's no point in me holding it up because there's no way you're going to see it. So I'm literally just only coming in probably, I don't know, about centimetre-ish. You will see it once I've applied the embossing powder. I might just do a really tiny amount at the bottom. I'm coming in even less at the bottom because I've got that nice scallop and I don't really want to lose too much of that. Right, let's pop that to the side. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to dab the edges of my tag with the the Versamark ink. Because I just think having, if you're colouring the edges of the tag, it just sort of gives it a nice finish, doesn't it? So I'm going to try and apply gold embossing powder to that as well. Right, I'm hoping it doesn't stick. As I said, I would, by choice, be using my Wow embossing powder, but I cannot find it, so I am using this one. I don't even know what make it is, so I'm not going to bother telling you, but it's just one that's been in my stash for, goodness, I don't know how many years. So at the moment, I'm just going around and doing the top layer, and I will do the edge in just a moment. Right, now with this embossing powder that's here, I'm literally just going to move that about, and that should hopefully pick up the embossing powder on the edges from where I run the ink pad along there. Okay, I think that's covered. Right, I'm going to lay that on the edge of my desk just for a moment. Hopefully I don't knock it off while I pop this back in the pot. Otherwise I'll make a bit of a mess with that. And I'm going to pull the magic heat gun out now. Now, when you are embossing on MDF, it does take a little bit longer than it does on card. You'll actually be able to see that I am actually using the heat gun, and I'm not making it up. So I'm going to make sure that I hold it on those edges too as I go around. I think it's nice if if you're doing it to sort of hang on the wall or whatever, it's just nice to finish them edges off nice. What I tend to do is actually use that Pentart wax paste. I love using that. But as I'm doing the gold crackle around the edge here, I just thought it'd be nice to finish it off with the same sort of gold. Sorry, I am having to hold this a bit awkwardly because it is quite hot. I'm actually surprised the heat gun is behaving itself as well today. I really expected it to conk out on me. So as I said, I did grab the other one out of the drawer just in case. Mm, So just watch your fingers because it does all get hot. I think because you have to have it on a little bit longer on the MDF. And because I'm doing the edges as well, it's really easy to burn your fingers. Right, so last little edge now. Whoops. That's annoying. I've probably knocked all that embossing powder off. Let's just turn it round. Right, I did knock some of that embossing powder off there, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. I will probably later on just top it up by applying some more Versamark ink and some more embossing powder to that, but I'll sort that out later. So yeah, as you can see, it has gone quite nicely around the edge. I said, I think it just gives it a really nice finish, particularly if you're going to hang it on the wall or, you know, whatever. Um, but yeah, so that's the finished tag. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't actually pick up the different like um oh, what you know, like matte and shiny. It doesn't really pick up that on the phone. But I find that where I've worked over the chalk paint and used the multi-surface paints over that, it does give it a completely different look, and it is quite a matte look, which I think is really nice. But yeah. So I think if I was hanging that on the wall, I'd probably just thread some I don't know, what do you call it? Like maybe jute string or something, I think, on this particular one, because it is quite a rustic looking tag. I'd probably just go with some normal string, or I guess you could use like some nice brown organza ribbon with some like, you know, you get these like fiber ones. Um, I'm sure I've got some like goldy one or something in these fibers, so maybe I'll do that. I don't know yet, but I will sort of finish it off with something so that it can be hung up. So yeah, that's the finished project. And I said it can be done on paper too, because originally I was thinking about doing an actual, like, you know, a greeting card. Um, but I just thought it'd be, you know, I'm going to do it on an MDF tag, because I thought it was quite interesting being able to place that in the oh, I can't think, in the stamping platform. But you know, that's the one that I done on card. So it sort of worked the same. However, it's quite funny, the blues have come out quite different. The teal colour. I don't quite know why. I definitely used the same colour there. So no idea. Maybe I just didn't use as much, blended it in a bit more. I don't know. But yeah, um, definitely give it a try. It's quite a fun technique to use. I love the loopy stamp around the edge. Yeah, I really love that. It's quite a fun stamp. There's actually, I really love all the stamps on that set. There's some really nice borders here. Um, yeah, have used a few of these. Do love that set. I'm really into texture stamps. I think as soon as a texture stamp comes out, you know, I kind of have to have it. I never used to be like that, because I always used to think, oh, what's the point in having just a texture stamp? They're a bit boring. But actually, if you're into stamping and into creating your own backgrounds and things like that, they are perfect. That's beautiful. It's so pretty. Thank you. Love it. Look brilliant. Uh, Lovely. Thank you. Right. Thank you for joining me, everyone. And thank you to Laura for doing the links. Now, there is a bit of a change of schedule for my next live. Obviously, Joe will be live. I'm assuming it'll be next Monday again, which I've got the calendar here. So Joe's live in theory should be on the 20th on the That's Crafty Creatives Facebook page. And then I was scheduled to do a live on Wednesday the 29th, but I am going to have to move that to Monday the 27th, and that will be on YouTube again. So I will put posts up closer to the time, but obviously the That's Crafty calendar, it will still show that I'm live on the Wednesday, but I will be doing it on a Monday. But anyway, thank you again for joining me. Thank you, Dina. Really enjoyed it. I'm really pleased. Yeah, thank you for joining me. And do please post your makes. If you've bought anything with That's Crafty, from That's Crafty, it doesn't have to be their own branded things. It could be the Stamperia stuff, anything that you've purchased from That's Crafty. Please do post, you know, any of your makes in the group. We do love to see them. I know a few of you have posted recently, and it's been really nice to see them. But anyway, I I've uploaded, oh, Laura's already uploaded the schedule. Right, so thanks again for joining me, and I will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.